name is Julien Lenora. I'm the creator and host of the Tap into the Unseen Realms event. In the name of all the speakers, I wholeheartedly welcome you to the Unseen Realms 2023. What if the boundaries of human perception could be shattered, revealing a hidden universe beyond the mundane and physical 3D world? What if we held the key to unlocking mystical realms, touching the very essence of life itself? What if, woven into the fabric of existence, every soul possessed a unique role in the grand cosmic tapestry, a destiny waiting to be unraveled? All interviews are testimonies of awakenings and experiences with the unseen realms, the 99% which mostly remain hidden from our reality. This is what we'll be exploring together in the next 5 days. Let me introduce myself. I'm Julien Lenora. I have become a channel for life force, energy healer, and psychic, but this has not always been the case. To truly comprehend my journey, let's delve a little bit into my background first. For the first 46 years of my life, I was firmly entrenched in the realm of left brain logical thinking. I was an IT guy with a Master of Science in Business Information Systems, a quintessential member of society's daily grind. Spirituality and mindfulness were not in my focus, and I scarcely prioritized my physical well-being. I traversed my existence without the faintest awareness of chakras or the elusive life force. These mystical dimensions remained beyond my reach, as they do for most. Despite my innate curiosity and perpetual yearning for knowledge, I never dared to believe that such possibilities could exist. My first and most profound trauma in my life occurred when I was a mere 3 years old. It remains etched in my memory as the defining moment that would shape my future. On an ordinary night, my father left, leaving me and my mother abruptly, without his presence. He had left for the United States. His sudden departure, an event that unfolded as I was sleeping, delivered a shockwave of unimaginable magnitude the next morning. The morning sun revealed his absence, and I realized with heartbreaking clarity that only a 3-year-old could possess that my childhood had been shattered. I knew from that moment on that the fairy tales and stories of happily ever afters were reserved for the realm of make-believe. Looking back, I understand that it was at this juncture that my chakras disconnected. Overwhelmed by pain, it was a reflex of self-preservation. My life was the one of a wounded healer, mostly marked by loss, learning to forgive and learning to love myself. The following events illustrate this. At the age of 8, I lost the last male figure in my life, my grandfather, whose sudden, unexpected death from a heart attack delivered yet another profound shock. This is the moment I lost my faith in God. Although I never had any contact with my dad, I never gave up on my dream to find and reunite with my dad. Finally, in 1995, I successfully reconnected with my father. 2001, yet another loss, as I tragically lost my closest childhood friend in a devastating avalanche accident. In 2004, I started skydiving, as I felt dead on the inside and I needed to feel emotions again. This became my true passion, and I collected over 2,000 jumps over the years. In 2013, I lost the company I had founded in 2009 with a college friend over a dispute and lawsuit, a VPN service company for consumers. In the end, I let it go. It just wasn't worth the negativity, although the company was profitable. For nearly a decade, my entrepreneurial spirit was shattered, my trust in others gone, and my self-belief waned, while my faith in both my abilities and the legal system eroded. In 2014, I again lost a dear skydiver friend due to a suicide. Forced to re-enter the corporate world again in 2014, I found myself in a high-paying job that failed to provide the fulfillment and purpose I longed for. Instead, I was distracting myself with more skydiving and traveling, two of my passions. Then, in 2016, my wake-up call came. It would also be the beginning of my hero's journey. In October 2016, I got invited as a load organizer to organize skydives for less experienced jumpers. By then, I had amassed approximately 1,200 skydives and was considered an experienced skydiver. The load organizer has to organize the jumps according to the skill level of the participants, brief them, jump with them, and debrief them. The goal is that they learn something while having fun without killing each other. One day, after a busy skydive, the last jump of the day was supposed to be a sunset skydive with beach landing in Castellón, Spain, with a group dinner at the beach afterwards. Nothing special. I had done plenty of beach jumps in Puerto Rico before. The sunset was a beautiful and uneventful jump, just a beautiful beach sunset skydive. At full altitude, I deployed my parachute. Unfortunately, it malfunctioned. It was a line twist. Line twists are very common and frequent malfunctions in skydiving, and you learn very early to deal with them. I had dealt with line twists many times before, without any problems. But this time, I was over the ocean, pretty far away from the beach. My parachute was quite small, and as the parachute gets smaller, the malfunctions get more violent. I was spinning hard, laying horizontally in the air. At some point, I must have passed out, because I remember getting an image. The waves of the ocean were too close. I knew immediately that I was too low, and that I had to act quickly. I cut away and pulled my reserve almost instantaneously. Then, time almost seemed to stop and to go into slow motion. Strangely, there was no shouting, no fear. It was the most peaceful moment in my life. I instinctively knew that this might be it. In that moment, I surrendered to the Creator and remember thinking, I'm all yours. And I remember looking up at my reserve parachute sniveling, as I didn't want to look down. Then, miraculously, my parachute reserve opened. It must have been approximately 15 meters above the ocean. Not even 3 seconds later, I was already in the ocean. I didn't even have time to do the water landing emergency procedures or to prepare the landing. The parachute opened so low. So there I was at 7:30 p.m. in the ocean, approximately a mile from the beach, and the sun was setting. I remember my thought, I'm happy to be alive. The world didn't change, but I had a shift of perspective. I went from being depressed to being happy to be alive. It was very profound. I then took the decision that I would not waste my life anymore in a cubicle for a job that I didn't like and that didn't get me any appreciation. I had to wait for 45 minutes for my rescue as there were no more lifeguards on duty. It was already off season. No need to mention that the dinner at the beach was ruined for that evening. This near-death experience reignited my lost faith and ignited a profound realization. I needed to steer my life into a different direction. The universe had delivered a resounding wake-up call, urging me to stop complaining, to embrace the struggles as part of my path, and to grow from them. After my first near-death experience, it took me 6 months until I started skydiving again. The European record would be happening this year, and so the first skydives after my first near-death experience were big wave skydiving jumps in order to be drafted for the record. Large formations always carry more risks as there are more skydivers in the air. Not an ideal setting after 6 months break, but as we often joke in skydiving, what could possibly go wrong? The jumps were performed out of 3 airplanes simultaneously from 18,000 feet. We had made several jumps like this before, and so far everything went fine. But this time our plane came in too hot. Our airplane was on a collision course with the lead plane. We were drifting into the other plane. our plane came in so hot it had completely filled the window of the lead plane. This is when the people in the lead plane started screaming. The pilot, although having headphones on and the engines being loud and not being able to see our airplane in his blind spot, miraculously reacted correctly and banked to the correct side, avoiding collision by a couple of meters. If we had collided, 2 airplanes would have lost a wing, which would have been a death sentence for everybody sitting in 2 airplanes. We proceeded then with the jump, only to realize once we had landed how close we came to death, and we mesmerized how the pilot was able to react perfectly by just hearing people scream. It was a true miracle that saved 33 people's lives that day. Being a numbers person, knowing probabilities and statistics, I knew that it couldn't possibly be mere luck. According to statistics, after such a near-death experience, you should be fine for the next 10 years. But I had survived 2 near-death experiences back to back within 6 months. I knew something bigger was at play and had saved us. Until this moment, I had mostly lived my life looking for external confirmation, pleasure, and happiness. But this had now shifted. Yet it took me almost 2 years until I was able to make changes to my life after those events. In 2018, I decided to welcome a dog into my life, who gradually coaxed my tightly locked heart back to life. Already as a kid, I always envisioned myself having a beagle. Because of work, I had always postponed it, but now the time had come to make it reality. Her name is Dory, and she's been my teacher and my heart opener. With her by my side, I ventured into more mindfulness practices, savoring the simple joys of life. Walks with my dog, the beauty of nature, flowers, and the warmth of sunny days. My dog taught me not only to embrace the present moment, but to be in the present moment. But this tumultuous ride continued, and my hero's journey wasn't quite over yet. In 2018, I was abruptly dismissed from my job while on sick leave, setting off a chain of financial difficulties. It was during this time that, after a decade-long wait, I finally secured my green card. I relocated to California to become a tandem skydiving instructor, a job I adored, but unfortunately, I was going broke working. And then the world was gripped by the pandemic, and I was forced to return to Switzerland, leaving my dream behind. At 43, I found myself living with my mother for 3 months, feeling like a burden to my family. I felt like a failure and a burden, the worst possible feeling, and most probably the lowest point in my life. Eventually, after 3 months, I was able to return to the flat I had sublet, and I found a new IT job, which I quit again after a year because I just couldn't take it anymore. Then came 2022. I made a decision that would forever alter the course of my life. I decided to purchase a crystal, a Nard crystal from Nassim Haramein. So it is this crystal. And this crystal is made after the structure of the vacuum. So as I held this crystal in my hand and played with it like this, a transformational shift happened, and I began to sense the crystal's focused energy resonating with my hand chakra. I could feel every movement I was doing on my hand chakra. It was a moment of sheer disbelief, a fascinating revelation from my scientific and logical mind that marked the genesis of my profound change. This remarkable encounter with the crystal acted as the conduit to reawakening, reconnecting my dormant chakras after a staggering 44-year slumber. For the first time in conscious awareness, I could perceive the intricacies of my chakras. The sensation was nothing short of awe-inspiring. With my hand chakras, I discerned the flow of energy, the life force known as prana, chi, or ki, coursing through all the forms of existence, be it plants, humans, crystals, celestial bodies, stars, planets, and revered sacred sites. I also found myself attuned to other people's chakras, and even the subtle interplay between specific flowers and the activation of different chakras became clear to me as I strolled through the park. Each step in nature felt like a divine symphony, played upon the strings of my chakras, orchestrating a profound connection with the universe itself. I later found out that sacred geometry and hieroglyphics had the same effect on my chakras. They also carry life force. In the wake of my newfound ability to channel the life force through my hand chakras, another transformation took hold. I transitioned into being an energetic conduit, assuming the roles of both a healer and a psychic. All of a sudden, my soul's destiny was clear, and my path was set in front of me. No longer driven by the rational dictates of my mind, I had undergone a profound transformation, one that had led me to rediscover the wisdom of my heart. My decisions were no longer governed by logic, but were now guided by the universe's intricate rhythm. My mind, once the sole arbiter of my choices, became reserved for reading, calculation, and introspection. Now guided by intuition or divine discourse, my heart was in charge of taking decisions. Just 2 months later, heeding the universe's call, I embarked on an extraordinary journey. I realized that I had to put the gift I had received into service for others. I opened my energy healing practice and simultaneously launched a website dedicated to the realm of crystals and healing stones. In these bold steps, I placed my trust in the universe, recognizing that it held the key to my path forward. Faith, curiosity, and unwavering determination propelled me along this new trajectory. To move forward, I had to relinquish control and place my trust in the universe's guiding hand. This journey rekindled my fascination with the unseen and the realm of energies, but also reawakened my inner child. In my late 40s, I found myself rediscovering the universe and our world in an entirely novel and enthralling manner. In the aftermath of these profound experiences, my very essence had undergone a remarkable transformation. I went from being a lost soul to emerge as a wholly different person, having shifted my focus to the creative right hemisphere of my brain, my intuition. This transition entailed significant personal changes, including giving up meat, bidding farewell to coffee and Coca-Cola, discovering my spirituality, and rekindling with my faith. I wholeheartedly embraced my new identity, a healer and a psychic, and I realized that all that I've done in my life, especially my studies, were basically in vain. In the span of a mere few months, my life took a remarkable turn for the better. The abilities I had unlocked continued to evolve gradually, and I embarked on an enthralling journey into this unfolding reality. The newfound fulfillment and happiness I experienced were unparalleled. This path I had chosen was replete with revelations and surprises, each pushing me further along exploring uncharted territories. Trusting the universe became my guiding principle. What became increasingly evident was that all the trials and tribulations of my past were indispensable stepping stones, preparing me for what lay ahead. Through my struggles, I had discovered the essence of compassion, enhancing my capacity to serve and assist others. I had come to understand that every event had unfolded precisely as it needed to, in order for me to unearth my true self and transcend the shackles of ego. It was a profound revelation. In moments when we feel alone, we are never truly isolated. It is our responsibility to forge and reclaim the connection with the divine and the universe. Today, as I engage with my right brain, my internal landscape is at peace, and the ceaseless chattering of my monkey mind has subsided. I have, at long last, discovered the serenity and love that I that eluded me for so long. My transformation has been profound. I extend an invitation to you. Summon the courage to embark on your unique journey and unearth the radiance of your inner light. It may not always be an easy path, but I assure you, the journey will be more than worth it. So why did I create this event? I created this event to allow others to discover and experience the fascinating and mysterious realms of the unseen, like I did. If I was able to experience it, then others could also discover and experience it. My intention with this event is to increase understanding, raise consciousness, attract new supporters to the path of light and love, and encourage established light workers in their endeavors, and to co-create a brighter future for our world and Mother Earth. I also wanted to share my experiences and all that I've learned over the past 14 months about life force with you. And that's also the main reason why I manifested this summit. And it's been a challenging endeavor and but very rewarding and uplifting. And I really hope that you find value in it and that you find the inspiration that you need to discover it for yourself. And I hope you find many of the interviews with the speakers that resonate with you. So thank you for being part of this event and for taking the time to explore the unseen realms. So we come now to my main topic, which is experiencing the divine life force. So where can you experience the divine life force? The divine life force is everywhere. We bathe in it every day without noticing, but it's all around us. It is what physicists would call the quantum field. And here I would like to mention the Kybalion, or one of the Hermetic principles, which the one is nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So life force is everywhere. And if I talk about life force, I usually talk about frequency, but not in the typical sense of the frequency that we learn in physics, like hertz. Life force still has to do with vibration, and I measure it in Bovis units. I'll explain it later a little bit. So there's two kinds of energies in the universe. There's female energy and male energy. Both are slightly different. The female energy is more a diffuse energy, soft and cooling, woofing. Whereas the male energy is a lot more focused. It feels tingling or warming, and it's much rarer to find in nature. Nature holds mostly female energy. For example, when you go to the woods or into the park, you will feel mostly female energy. I would say around 90% of the plants are female energy. Male energy, there's very few plants, but like the stinging nettle, this one is male energy. And if you put your hands over it, don't touch it, you will feel a slight tingle in your hand chakra or a warming. So where else can you feel a life force? Well, of course, crystals and healing stones. Crystals and healing stones are found very easy and reliable tools for us to use because they work all the time and they're very reliable. We don't need to do much. And every cell of our body is like a mini crystal. We have like crystalline body because of that. And so the crystal who holds a certain vibration will also affect your cells. It's like tuning forks. So if you make one tuning fork vibrate, then the same tuning fork at the same frequency will vibrate too. And it's a little bit the same with our cells and the crystals. So even if you don't feel the crystals, they still affect you in a positive way. So for crystals, in order to feel crystals, it really also depends on the shape and how focused the light is. As I said, male energy is more focused and female energy is more diffuse. So more focused light is easier to feel. So for example, this shape, like a sphere or a rounded shape, is a lot more diffuse and soft. So this can be a little harder to feel on your hand chakra. Whereas a more focused tip, like this one, might be easier to feel on your hand chakras. Also, if you use have healing stones that are shaped according to geometric shapes, like a pyramid, then it's easier to feel. So what you can do is, of course, place the crystal into your hand and then try to feel which chakra gets activated. Usually when a chakra gets activated, it's going to feel like tingly or warming sensation, usually at the location of the chakra. Of course, different stones are going to activate different chakras. So I found crystals fascinating. Each one has like a different or its own character. And for that purpose, I like using rough stones because they haven't been polished yet. So they have a little bit more character, a little bit more bite to it, I think. So I invite you to try both and to see what you like. Then, as I mentioned before, plants also hold life force. And usually the life force of plants comes out of leaves or the flowers. Out of the leaves, it's easier to feel if they are pointy leaves. To the extreme, we have like cacti, and these are very focused life forms. It's like little laser beams. Huh? So if you have a cactus at home, try to feel them. It's going to be easier to feel them. Also, plants like aloe vera or very pointy leaves are much easier to feel. And what you can do is just put your hand chakra in front of the pointy leaf or the cactus and try to feel it. So move a little bit your hand and you will feel it in your hand chakra at some point. You can also hover over plants. So usually it's about 10 inches away, 15 inches away, and you can feel the life force. It's like a little cushion over the plants. Grass, of course, has a lot of life force. When I walk my dog, I love to feel the grass and its life force. So I put my hand out horizontally or parallel to the grass, and then I walk over the grass. And it's like a slight tingle. It's female energy, but it's tingle. It's tingly, and it feels very nice. And of course, if you go into the woods, then it's good for grounding. You feel that female energy, this cooling energy. So it's not only the evaporation of the soil that cools the woods down, but it's also the presence of the female energy, which has this cooling effect on our cells. Then, of course, you also have flowers or colors which hold life force. I love flowers when I walk in the park. And for example, if you look at the color red or red flowers, this is going to activate your root chakra. If you look at orange colors, it's going to activate your sacral chakra. If you look at yellow colors, it's going to activate your solar plexus chakra. If you look at green or pink colors or flowers, it's going to activate your heart chakra. Light blue is going to activate your throat chakra. Indigo blue is going to activate your third eye. And purple or white is going to activate your crown chakra. So I invite you, when you're next time in the park, try to feel the tingling sensation. And it's a great way to walk around and enjoy nature, the little things, the little joys of nature. And it's fascinating. And flowers is again a little bit different, especially if they hold strong sacred geometric shapes, then they might be a little stronger. And for me, when I walk in the park, it's, as I mentioned before, it's like a symphony on my chakra. It's like the nature is playing its symphony on my chakras. So it's quite fascinating. Then, of course, anything that is made of sacred geometry, so this can be objects, drawings, or even sacred sites, they hold life force. Sacred geometry is like a conduit for life force. So, for example, if you go to Egypt, to the sacred sites, you can feel the life force. As you can see, this year I visited Egypt, and the life force is everywhere. I could feel it very strongly. Especially if you go to Karnak, there's the 7 gates, which is very strong. You can also go visit Sekhmet, but the life force is really everywhere there. It's quite fascinating after thousands of years that it's still working. Of course, you can go to like Stonehenge or any other different stone circles. Churches also incorporate sacred geometry, and usually they're also built on power sites, so that's where the ley lines cross and where water usually flows underneath, and these sites hold a higher life force. You can also look at the flower of life or Metatron's cube and any other sacred geometry shape, and these all hold life force. I use sacred geometry oracle cards. And that's a fascinating way to train your chakras and to experience the life force. And then also paintings can hold life force, especially if they've been painted according to sacred geometry. It might not always be visible, but if they have this sacred geometry blueprint underneath, then you will still feel it. You can look at pictures from ascended masters. They hold a lot of life force, and also as example, pictures from Leonardo da Vinci. And then you can also experience life force in harmonic sounds. And harmonic sounds can be either recorded or chanted. And this will also work and act on your body or your chakras. And there, make sure it's just playing in 432 hertz, which is the pure frequency or original frequency of Mother Gaia. And try to avoid the 440 hertz. And then also life force is also in written word. So this can be any text. but mostly if you read holy text or if you read hieroglyphics, then you can feel life force in them, and they might also activate your chakras. This is a little bit more advanced, and for sure, I don't recommend to start with that, but reading these texts definitely help to increase your frequency or life force. Then, of course, mantras and kind words also hold life force. And now I want to talk about emotions. Emotions are quite important. So, for example, the highest frequency emotions are love, compassion, and forgiveness, whereas the lowest frequency uh, emotions are fear, shame, and anger. So, if you want to raise your frequency, try to favor love, compassion, and forgiveness, and avoid fear, shame, and anger. So during my progression since my awakening in August 2022, I've been measuring my progress or my life force very regularly. And I measure life force with Bovis units. So how do you measure Bovis units? There's no real device that does it. So what I did is I started dowsing, and it was quite fascinating because having a scientific mind and knowing probabilities and statistics, I was blown away, because if this was random, then the pendulum should be all over the place. But I received very consistent answers with the pendulum, and this blew my mind, and I understood that this wasn't just random. So the Bovis chart and the pendulum are a very easy way to measure life force and your progress. You can, for example, even ask the pendulum, what is the life force of this fruit? And then you hold your hand over the fruit, and with the other one, you use the pendulum. And you can do that. You can also measure your life force before you do a meditation. Ask the pendulum, what is my life force? And do it again after the meditation, and you'll see by how much your frequency or your life force increased. It's really fascinating, and I invite you to do it. It takes a little practice, but it's not hard. I mean, I learned it all by myself, and I still use it almost daily. So, as I mentioned, some of the important things, if you want to be mindful and raise your frequency or vibration or life force, is to have good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. This is really important. So if you speak out of love, compassion, this has a very high vibration. If you speak out of fear or anger or shame, this will drag you down very quickly too. So be mindful about that, and this will help you a big deal to raise your frequency and your vibration. Um, so by my experience, if you have a Bovis frequency of 30,000 Bovis units, you should be able to start to feel life force. And of course, the higher your life force that you're holding, the easier it gets to feel life force in plants, structures, or other people even. So what does life force or a high life force, a high frequency or a high vibration enable us to do? So it allows us to connect to anything in the universe, not only in the world. And we think that speed of light is the fastest speed in the universe, but The fastest speed in the universe is when you connect to the life force, because it's instant, and that even over billions of miles or kilometers, you can connect. So basically, I can connect to anybody in the world and ask, for example, what is their strongest chakra? What is their weakest chakra? And which chakra is the most active? So the most active chakra will give you, it's an indicator of how the person feels actually. You can, with life force, enables you also to be able to channel beings from other dimensions like ascended masters, ETs. Life force also enables you to heal yourself. So if you have a high life force, above 30,000, your body is going to heal itself. This means usually that you don't have many blockages left in your chakras, and the life force can flow pretty well to your chakras. And if you're with the light, then there's no disease. There's only good stuff that comes to you. And if you have blockages, then this can lead to disease, basically. And with life force, you can also heal others, with like Reiki, energy healing. I'm an energy healer, so I do transfer the life force to my patients, and this will help them to, how do you say, this will help them to raise their vibration so that they can body can heal more easily. And if they're mindful, then it's gonna also be long lasting. If you're not mindful, then of course any issue you had might come back sooner or later, depending on your mindfulness. But if you live a very mindful life, watch out what you eat, what you think, what you say, and what you do, then you can have very good long lasting effects by just one energy healing session. And I always know beforehand if I treat a patient, if I can help them or not. So I will never treat a patient who can't be helped. And I'm just a conduit. So when I do work on patients, I'm usually channeling Archangel Raphael, and he does the healing. I'm just the conduit, the medium, the channel for that life force. So whenever I do a healing, I ask him first, do you want to heal this person? Yes or no? And then I get an answer. So as I mentioned before, the life force, positive energy, then your chakras are really flowing well and unblocked. So this means you'll have a lot of positive energy, high or light frequency. This will result in well-being or healing. Whereas negative energy, which is low frequency or dense frequencies, result in blockages in your chakras, our energetic centers, and will also lead to dis-ease. So this is that to life force. So I would also mention the most important aspects of energy healing. Energy healing, it's an interplay between the sender and the receiver. So the sender, of course, if he has a lot of life force, he can heal or help people more easily. If he has, the more pure he is as a conduit, the more easy it is to heal people. But it's also depending on the receiver. the receiver must be open to receive life force. He must also believe in it. And Archangel Raphael means translated God heals. So if you don't believe in that, it's going to be very difficult for you to receive the healing or to have effective healing effects from energy healing. That's why usually people go to their dark night of the soul before they try energy healing. Or, for example, you tried everything that Western medicine had to offer and it still didn't work and you're desperate, and then you turn to energy healing. But usually you have to get to that low point to be willing to accept and believe in that. So it's a normal process. But if you already believe, you know, in the creator source, then it's going to be a lot easier to be healed. Then, of course, the receiver, as I mentioned, the receiver needs to learn something, usually from a disease. So I always ask my patients, what did you learn from it? So if you haven't learned anything from it, then maybe you're not ready for the healing yet. And if you learned something and you live change your life, for example, you live a mindful life, and you need to be healthy, because to keep the vibration up, you need to do work on yourself. For example, trauma can be stored in your chakras, and this can be trauma that you experienced in your life, but it can be also trauma that you experienced from past lives, that they are carried over, or trauma that is within your lineage that you need to resolve first. So this is going to, you will need to heal basically yourself from that too, if you want long lasting effects. Of course, I can offer guidance and help to do that, because I can feel blockages and then I can work with the people on that. But the ultimate goal is that you heal yourself. But of course, if you do go to an energy healing session, it's a great way to feel or experience life force. This might motivate you on your path to continue and also to change or make all these difficult changes you need to do in your life to get also to that same place where you can heal yourself and help others too. So energy healing works great for any chronic disease. This can be any chronic disease that usually Western medicine treats only the symptoms. Energy healing can heal the root cause, and it can be very transformative. So if you're suffering, for example, from long COVID, or if you go undergoing a cancer treatment, then it's a great complementary alternative to do also energy healing. It will help you recover faster and absorb the negative effects. So if you're ready to go for energy healing, I highly recommend you try it. It's a transformative experience. I mean, miracle happens, and all you need to do is believe in it and ask for it. And then you're ready to receive the life force, which comes directly from source. And yeah, that's all I have to say, basically. So I'm offering also a raffle for 3 energy healing session. An energy healing session is worth 250 Swiss francs, and I'm giving away 3 sessions. All you have to do is claim your free gift, sign up for it, and basically you fill out a questionnaire, and I'm gonna pick 3 people that filled out the questionnaire, and they will receive the energy healing from me. And I also offer cleansing and charging of crystals or healing stone, one crystal or healing stone for free. And usually when you cleanse or charge your healing stone in the moonlight, full moon, or in the sunlight, you will have a strength which equals 1. When I do the cleansing and charging, because I'm directly charging it from source, you will get a 4 times stronger crystal. So if you already feel crystals, I highly recommend you sign up and try it. It's fascinating to feel how the crystal gets stronger and how the life force works. And if you don't feel it yet, your own crystals or healing stones, well, try it anyway, because when it's 4 times stronger, you might be able to feel it. And remember, 30,000 bovis, that's just the beginning of the scales for bovis, and you can reach that pretty quickly by meditating. So as soon as you have 30,000 bovis, you're ready to experience life force, crystals, plants. So I highly encourage that you do that. And if you need coaching or guidance, then I will be offering soon webinars, but you can also book me on one-on-one coaching if you desire that. And just contact me and we'll find a way. I'll find a way to help you. All you need to do is be willing to do it, but you're on the right path. You found this conference, you're already listening to the interviews, so that was, everything happens for a reason. So just the next step is try it, go for it. If that resonates with you, go for it. So now that we talked a lot about life force, I would like you to experience it directly. So I will offer now a 6-minute heart chakra activation where I will cleanse your heart chakra. I will unblock your heart chakra and I will energize your heart chakra. So, as I mentioned before, when you experience life force, you might experience a little tingling or a little warming sensation. So, I would like to ask you to close your eyes, sit upright in a comfortable position. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. You're ready to accept the life force. Be ready to accept the life force and just enjoy the feeling. Makuta Chemaya Ruka Ikucha. Please cleanse the heart chakra of anybody who is viewing this interview. Cleanse the heart chakra from any negative, dark or junk energy or negative emotion. Please cleanse the heart chakra from any dark, negative or junk energy or negative emotion. Please cleanse the heart chakra from any dark, junk or negative emotion. Now. And now that we have cleansed your heart chakra, we're going to proceed and unblock your heart chakra. Please unblock the heart chakra of any viewer that is viewing this interview. Please unblock the heart chakra of any viewer who is watching this interview. Please unblock the heart chakra of any viewer who is watching this interview. Open the heart chakra fully. Open the heart chakra fully. Open the heart chakra fully. Now that we have cleansed and unblocked your heart chakra, we will proceed to energize your heart chakra. Feel the life force. Feel the power of Nova flowing through you. Please energize the heart chakra of any viewer who is watching this interview. Please energize the heart chakra of any viewer who is watching this interview. Please energize the heart chakra of any viewer who is watching this interview now. Fill their heart with the divine life force, the divine light. Fill it with love, compassion. Fill it with love, compassion, and forgiveness. Love, compassion, and forgiveness. And please bless any of the viewers who are watching this interview with whatever serves them the most on their path to finding divine light. Please bless them with whatever serves them the most on their path to find the divine light. Please bless them with whatever serves them the most to find the divine light. Now. Right. You can now slowly open your eyes again and come back. I hope that this was a life-changing experience for you. And if you could feel the life force, then it would be nice if you can drop me an email and tell me what you felt, what kind of sensation you had. And I wish you all the best on your path. So I would like to finish with a message. And in times of upheaval and sorrow, only the heart can bring you comfort and peace. So seek your heart, find your love, compassion, and forgiveness. This will lead you to source and unity, which will lead you to peace, prosperity, and joy. Into the darkness must you go first before you can find your light. But once you have found your light, there shall be no more darkness for thee. Love is the vibration of the all. Become one with the all again, and the veil shall be lifted for you. There is no greater accomplishment. May peace be with you. I hope you enjoy this event and all the interviews, and that you get the message, and whatever resonates with you. Um, yeah, just follow the path of the calling. And if you feel goosebumps while you listen to these interviews, this is the higher self talking to you. So pay particular attention when this happens. In that sense, enjoy the ride.